What is up, guys? Welcome to my synopsis breakdown for Arrow Season 7, Episode 11, titled Past Sins. This episode synopsis might actually be teasing a return of the Suicide Squad in Arrow Season 7, so that is definitely pretty exciting, but I will go over that and whatever else is in the synopsis after I break it down. So, the synopsis reads, the past comes back to haunt both Oliver and Laurel. Curtis is upset when he discovers that Diggle and Lila have restarted the Ghost Initiative with Diaz, China White, Kane Wolfman, and Carrie Cutter. So the synopsis begins with the title of the episode, which is The Past Sins, referring to the past sins coming back to haunt both Oliver and Laurel. Now, I don't think they've ever done anything at the same time, any completely terrible things at the same time. Obviously, this is the Earth 2 Laurel, not the currently dead and probably will be forever dead Earth 1 Laurel, and I do think that this means it's probably going to be completely separate. Maybe there's going to be somebody in this episode, I don't know who, that will be returning to haunt Oliver and Laurel for things they did in the past, but completely separately. It's also possible that something happened in the past that either I don't remember or we didn't see it on screen, where Oliver and Laurel did something maybe illegal, maybe they did something unethical, or something that is either haunting them now, or what they mean by this is they are facing repercussions for what they did in the past. I don't really know anything about this part of the episode, so we'll just have to wait and see until January 28th to find out what that is about. But obviously the big thing to take away from the synopsis is the possible return of the Suicide Squad, or how it's called here, the Ghost Initiative. Now, in terms of it being the Ghost Initiative, I do think it's possible that either this is not actually what it's going to be called, and they want to keep it a secret, don't actually call it the Suicide Squad, and just call it the Suicide Squad in episode, or the Ghost Initiative is just the thing they call it when it's actually the Suicide Squad, or a revamping of the Suicide Squad. Or it's also possible that they are calling it something different, but they're doing the exact same concept, but just because DC and Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers in general, does not want to allow the Arrowverse to use the Suicide Squad. The whole reason the Suicide Squad was not a thing anymore after Season 3 of Arrow, and Deadshot was killed off, and Amanda Waller was killed off, Harley Quinn was never seen outside of that one cameo, was because Warner Brothers did not allow them to use Suicide Squad because they were making a Suicide Squad movie, and idiots, I really think this is the stupidest thing they've ever done. Along with all the other restrictions they put on the Arrowverse, they thought people would confuse these two Suicide Squads. In my opinion, it is insane to think that people can actually confuse the Will Smith version of Deadshot with the, I'm pretty sure his name is Michael Rowe version of Deadshot. They look completely different. They act completely different. It's ridiculous to me that they did this, and it actually kind of pisses me off. I hate the fact that Deadshot was killed off, and maybe he's actually still alive. It's definitely possible. If he is, I would love for him to return for this new revamped Suicide Squad, but I don't see that happening because I don't think Warner Brothers will let it happen, and that's probably the reason they're calling it the Ghost Initiative and not the actual Suicide Squad. But the characters that are going to be on this team are China White, Ricardo Diaz, Joe Wilson, Carrie Cutter, as well as John Diggle and Lila Michaels, which in my opinion is a pretty good Suicide Squad. I think if they really add Bronze Tiger, that would make it really, really good. I feel like he could be the leader of that team. He is, out of those characters, easily my favorite. After Season 7, he became a really good character, and I really, really, really hope he returns. He was a member of the Suicide Squad in the past. In fact, he even died on the Suicide Squad, which was either made not canon because it wasn't a comic, like a comic which is connected to Arrow, or it was changed by Flashpoint or something. But I do think he should return. Obviously, Carrie Cutter returned. I don't think Deadshot or Harley Quinn will return, or I don't think there were any other characters really, but I don't think they will return. But I do think this is a pretty solid Suicide Squad for what we got. The main reason I do think this is a Suicide Squad, when I originally heard that these characters would be returning this episode, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that this is a Suicide Squad at all. But really, the main thing that made me think, wait a second, are they doing the Suicide Squad again, is a behind-the-scenes picture from the director of Episode 14 of Arrow Season 7, titled Brothers and Sisters, Marcus Stokes. He posted this picture on Instagram, and you can clearly see from right to left, John Diggle, Lila Michael, China White, the director, Marcus Stokes, Ricardo Diaz, Joe Wilson, and Carrie Cutter. Now, the way they are dressed is exactly the same way that the Suicide Squad was dressed initially, when they are inmates at Argus, all the way back in Season 2 with Deadshot and Bronze Tiger and Shrapnel or something, as well as Harley Quinn. This is exactly what they wore, and the fact that they are returning not only in Episode 12, but in Episode 14 as well, does mean that these characters of Carrie Cutter and Joe Wilson, as well as China White, are recurring characters this season. Obviously, Diaz is a series regular, but these characters are going to be returning in really multiple episodes. So this is a possible and probable return to the Suicide Squad. Now, even if it's not called the Suicide Squad or even Task Force X, and it's just called the Ghost Initiative, this will be essentially the Suicide Squad. I mean, they're even bringing Suicide characters back, like John Diggle, Lila Michaels, Carrie Cutter, and probably and hopefully Bronze Tiger as well. They're members of Argus being used for good. They're actually villains, being used for good, and I really, really think this is a possible and probable return to the Suicide Squad, which is very exciting. The Suicide Squad were pretty awesome in Season 2, at least, mainly because of Deadshot, but hopefully they could be awesome here as well. And this also means that Diaz will probably not be the actual main villain of the rest of Season 7, which is good in my opinion. I don't think he should have, but this answers why he's a series regular this season. He will be a member of the Suicide Squad, and they needed him for the first 7 episodes of the season, as well as multiple episodes in the second half of Season 7. So the Suicide Squad is, in my opinion, probably back in the second half of Season 7. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that the Suicide Squad is returning, or do you think these characters are forming for something completely different? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.